The directions for laying out your pieces for your box, your little carrying box deal. First, you're going to need a 22-inch 1x6, which is the one. If you're not sure if you're getting the right one, make sure it's 5.5 inches across, and you need 22 inches of a 1x4, which should be 3.5 across. Okay, so if you don't have those yet, two 22-inch pieces, a 1x4 and a 1x6, you need to pause the video and go cut those. All right, and here is how we lay out our pieces. So if we're making lines that go across the grain and they need to be straight, we need to use a square, and we need to always make sure this lip is tight against the edge of the board, one of the factory edges, not a cut edge. Okay, so that makes sure these lines are perfect 90. And if we're making lines that go with the grain, we want to use a ruler. Okay? All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is just go close to one of my cut edges, make sure my square is perfectly tight against the factory edge of my board. I'm going to square a line across so I know I'm starting with a good square line. And that needs to be a perfect right angle. So that's why I had to use a square. Now, I am going to switch to my ruler, make sure I'm starting on 0, make sure I'm putting 0 on that line I just made. Let me zoom in a little bit. Make sure I'm putting 0 on the mark I just made, and I'm going to mark at 4.5 and 5.5. Okay, 4.5 and 5.5. Then I'm going to switch back to my square, slide the lip along the factory edge until I line it up with this mark that was at 4.5. And I'm going to make several marks here. Okay, I'm going to mark 2 3/4. I'm going to mark 2 3/8. And I'm going to mark 3 1/8. Okay, and then I'm going to make a line from the 2 3/8 one to the 3 1/8 one. Okay, again, 2 3/8, 2 3/4, 3 1/8. If you're having trouble remembering how the tick marks are labeled, grab your ruler cheat sheet. Okay. All right, now I'm going to slide over to my mark that I made at 5.5. Slide my square until it lines up with that one. And again, I'm going to mark 2 3/8 and 3 1/8. And I'm going to connect them with a line. Okay. Now I'm going to switch to my ruler, and I'm going to connect these two endpoints and these two endpoints. There. And there. Okay. Now I'm going to switch to my, let me zoom out a little bit. I'm going to switch to my compass and adjust my compass a little bit. I want to put this part of my compass on this intersection I made several steps ago. Okay, so I want to put the point right there. And then I'm going to adjust my compass until the pin part is right on the edge of the board on that mark. Okay, and then I'm going to slowly and try to make sure my compass doesn't adjust on me. This isn't a very good compass that I have. I'm going to order some better compasses. I want to make my curve All right. I'm going to label that end 1 and put my name on it, or put your name on it. All right, so that piece is done. I'm going to slide over and basically do the whole thing over again. Okay, so I'm just going to get my square kind of close to that, but make sure I got enough room where I can fit a bandsaw cut in between them. Square it across. Switch to my ruler. Put 0 on that line I just made. Put a mark at 4.5 and 5.5. Okay. Switch back to my square. Slide it over to the 4.5 mark. Put a mark at 2 3/8, 2 3/4, and 3 1/8. Well, my first mark was off 1/8. 2 3/8 is right. I just put it in the wrong spot. Should be there. Okay. Then I'm going to connect my 2 3/8 to my 3 1/8. I'm going to slide the ruler or my square to the 5.5 mark. Put a mark at 3 1/8. Put a mark at 2 3/8. Connect them. Switch to my ruler. Connect the endpoints. Okay, switch to my compass to get the curve, put the point at this intersection, adjust my pin till it's right on the edge at this intersection, and add my curve. Okay, so that's going to be end 2 and your name. Okay, those were the 2 hard ones. Pretty easy after this. I should have a little bit of board left there. I'm going to square it. Measure over 6 inches. Ooh, man, I about ran out. I'm backwards here, so I got, oh, let me put my ruler up here. Put my ruler, my 0 on that line, mark 6, square it. I'm going to name this piece bottom. And your name. Okay, so this piece is done. I'm going to go to my 1x4. I'm going to bring my square in a little bit from the edge, square my end off. I'm going to square it, switch to my ruler, put the 0 on the line. Measure over 6. Square it. Okay. Move my square over enough that I got room to make a bandsaw cut in between there. Square it. Switch to my ruler. Put my 0 on the line. Mark 6. Square it. Oh, I'll go side 1, your name, side 2, your name. Okay. And I got one more piece left to lay out. I am going to draw, so I'm going to put my square a little bit away from that line. I'm going to mark at 1.5 and then square from 1.5 down to 0. Okay, then I'm also going to put a mark at 1 1/4, 1 1/4, and 1/4. 1 1/4 and 1/4. I'm going to switch to my ruler. Switch to my ruler, put the 0 on the line. Okay, I'm going to mark at 1 7 1 7 and 8. Went off the screen a little bit. 1 7 and 8. Let's switch back to my square. On this mark, on this first one, I'm going to slide my square to that mark. I'm going to go from 0 to 1/4 with a line, and then I'm going to skip. I'm going to go put a line at, put a mark at 1 1/4 right there. Okay, and then I'm going to go from 1 1/4 to 1 1/2 and put another one. So I drew a line from 0 to 1/4. I skipped, and then I went 1 1/4 to 1 1/2. I'm going to switch to my ruler, connect these two endpoints, and connect these two endpoints. Okay, now I'm basically going to flip-flop and do that same thing over here. So I'm going to flip my ruler going the other way now, because if my ruler's hanging off the edge of the board, I can't really square it. Or I'm in my square. So I'm going to flip my square going this way. Okay, and I'm going to draw a line from 0 to 1 1/2. And I'm going to put a mark at 1 1/4 and 1/4. Okay, I'm going to slide my ruler in, or my square, keep doing that, into this line. And I'm going to make a mark from 0 to 1/4 and also mark 1/4. I'm going to skip, and I'm going to do a line from 1 1/4 to 1 1/2 and do a mark at 1 1/4 and 1 1/2. So a line from 0 to 1/4, and then I mark 1/4. I skip, and a line from 1 1/4 to 1 1/2 and mark each of those measurements. Switch to my ruler, connect these two endpoints, and connect these two endpoints, and connect these two endpoints. And I'm going to name this one handle and my name. Okay, let me zoom out. All right, those are your pieces for this project. You're gonna bring a square and a ruler over to me, and I'm gonna check all your layout and give you approval to go start cutting them out.